Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another one of our videos. Today, we're going to be making a bit of an interesting video. We're going to be talking about Autism Acceptance Month. And with us, I have just some of AANE's autistic employees. And before we get started, I'm just going to let everybody introduce themselves. Real quick, just my name is Ryan Walsh, and I am a facilitation specialist at AANE, and I'm an autistic adult. Bob, you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, my name is Bob Waters. I use he, him pronouns. I'm also a facilitation specialist as well as I don't know the names of the titles, but I take on phone calls and I also work in our LifeNet office, helping with case management, and I'm also an autistic adult.
Thanks, Bob.
My name is Mina. I work in the IFS department of AANE. I am an administrative coordinator. I also facilitate a support group and do some public speaking kind of stuff. And I'm also an autistic adult. I'm late diagnosed.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Molly. I am the training coordinator for A&E. So I work with organizations or schools or colleges who want to reach out to us to learn more about A&E and autism acceptance and awareness, all that jazz in the first place. And then I also work on the conferences and the symposiums that we have every spring and fall.
Thank you, Molly. And thank everybody for being here today to do this video. Um, and so the first thing that I want to do is I just want to, and we can go in the same order that you guys introduced yourself, just to be consistent. Um, the first thing I want to do is just ask you all, as autistic adults who have had membership in an autism advocacy group for quite some time,
Mhm.
what are your feelings about Autism Acceptance Month? How do we feel about it? And of course, I'll be giving my thoughts, but just, in between things. But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so obviously things are shifting right now. We've grown up with this phrase Autism Awareness Month, and it's becoming Autism Acceptance Month. Earlier, before the recording started, I was making the comparison with Indigenous Peoples Day, which is held on the holiday federally known as Columbus Day. Um, or maybe it is federally Indigenous Peoples Day for now. Anyway, the idea is that anniversary of Christopher Columbus coming to the United States meant one thing, and the same thing has happened, and now it means something else, but the fact was always there the whole time. And so, this idea of Autism Awareness Month has traditionally been, hey, like, pay attention to autistic, suffering folk. Donate money so we can fix the autistic folk. 20 years ago, that was the message. And now it's transitioning into, hey, autistic and neurodivergent people are here, they're everywhere. The interplay between culturally defined neurotypical expectations and people who diverge from those expectations is a foundational part of the human experience, and autistic people using the language of neurodiversity to talk about their lives and express themselves is this wonderful development of the last 30 years. And April is a time to do that. So, my thoughts are that having a month where conversations about neurodiversity sort of spill out into the public sphere, into places where people don't normally talk about them is fine. And will I see newspaper headlines that make me go, yes. And I'm totally fine with a month of heightened conversation, especially since the voices of autistic people have grown larger in prominence and presence over not even the last 30 years, even just the last 10 years.
Thank you, Bob.
No problem.
Yeah, I kind of like echo what Bob is saying. And I also think uh at least in the United States, I feel like we're pretty aware of the fact that autism is a thing. So taking it to kind of the next step of acceptance rather than just like there are autistic people to like the next logical conclusion seems to be like, okay, and like what what can we do societally and, you know, in workplaces and schools and everywhere else to like really integrate autistic people better and support us, you know, and what we bring to the table and sort of just yeah, like the all of the acceptance you know, like I think it also kind of gives a better platform for autistic people to discuss ourselves rather than having sort of outside communities come in and sort of like define these things for us where if like under the sort of like theme of acceptance it makes a little bit more sense for us to be the ones who are sort of dictating that information rather than having things be told to us. So I think it's a cool opportunity to sort of like showcase the wide range of, you know, of autistic people. Like I'm sure a lot of people have heard the phrase like if you've met one autistic adult, you've met one autistic adult. And yeah, just like giving us the opportunity to really to talk about ourselves and what we need and really define that kind of that for ourselves.
I
Yeah,
think
I
the
can't
thing
count the number of times I've, heard like professional, credentialed experts say just completely not true stuff. So like it's a great opportunity to have voices of folks who normally aren't given space.
I think it's also a big part of the long-standing culture of like self-advocacy and public speaking that has existed in the autism space particularly, but in the neurodiversity space at large as well.
Mhm.
It's a very unique opportunity to platform people to continue that cultural tradition, to share that with people who, might, are probably not so exposed to it all the time.
Totally. I was also gonna say most of what's been said already. Um, Basically like how like the shift between like autism awareness and autism acceptance. Like awareness, like to me, just seems like it's in the name, just like be aware of autism, and then it's just like for that month. And then like organizations or like even people learning about autism maybe for the first time during the month of April are just like, okay, this is the hot topic for the month, and then we'll move on. But like acceptance is more also the name, acceptance and like just like paying attention and listening to autistic voices and like how it's like more centered on autistic voices in autism acceptance like month in general now. Um, so I really agree with what Mina and Bob said. Like listening to people who have autism is like the main like point of acceptance instead of like awareness.
I can't agree more with pretty much everything you all said. So I think that that's a really good place to leave it. But I just want to say thank you so much for giving your perspective on this. And I think it's really important for, maybe people who are not exposed to the conversation to get an idea, even if it's just a quick idea of like, you know, what people like us are thinking about in this kind of thing, because they're probably seeing a lot of, advertisement, or they see a lot of like, you know, like town or, state-based messaging or whatever. And they don't necessarily get a chance to interact with it personally. So I think it's a good way to kind of share that perspective. So thank you all for doing that. Thank you to everybody who's watching the video, and you can check the link into the description for all the events that we're offering this month. We hope to see you there, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you,
Bye,
Ryan.
everybody.
Thank you.